Great. So, how is everyone doing? Yes, tired. So these are the last 2 hours of our day. So I invite you to take a cookie if you haven't done so. Just have some extra sugar, and we will start now to engage in table talk around getting down to facts and the ideas we started here in the panel, in the previous panel. I again invite you to fill in the evaluation forms. There are 2 Amazon gift cards waiting for 2 of you if you hand down your evaluation. So please make sure, if you haven't done so yet, to fill in one of the pink sheets of paper on your table. So now there's been a lot of listening, a lot of presentations on the stage, and the idea now is to bring the conversation to the tables, to have a conversation around where to go next now that we have a sense of what's in the Getting Down to Facts report. And for that, I want to welcome to the stage Yesenia Reyes, the Manager of Educational Equity at the Advancement Project.
Hello? Oh, you hear me. Hi, how are you? Has the sugar and the caffeine kicked in? Okay, I'll give it a few minutes. I have been tasked today with facilitating table talk conversations around getting down to facts because we want to pick everyone's brain here. But before we get started, I would love to share a little bit about myself and why I do this work. My name is Yesenia Reyes. I am a first-generation student, daughter of 2 immigrant parents from Guatemala. And my parents came here for one reason, and that was to give me a better opportunity. And that opportunity for them meant receiving a high-quality and fair education. But like for most immigrant families, navigating a new system for the first time is not only complicated, it's extremely overwhelming. My parents, when they came here, they didn't really have the time, maybe not even the knowledge, to interview different schools. But instead, they trusted our local school system and they trusted our local teachers. And they helped shape me who I am today. Today, I get to work alongside with you all to help shape what we are working on our vision today. We are helping shape a system that is not only creating welcoming and safe environments for students like myself, but for students that we heard from this morning, helping create a system that is embracing culture, diversity, and most importantly, languages. Today, I am proud to say I am a bilingual education advocate, so I want to say thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to give back and set the vision for California students. So, thank you. So it sounds like we are ready to dive deep into some networking and some brainstorming. We just heard from the anticipated panel earlier around getting down the facts. And really what we want to do is have 2 questions for you today. The first question is around vision. What next? What do we need to do as a group to set that for California? But before, I would love to give tables about 10 seconds to identify 3 roles. We do have PTA who has graciously volunteered their time to facilitate some of these conversations. So a shout out to PTA. If we can get, yay, thank you so much. So we want to look for 3 roles. One is somebody who is willing to facilitate the conversation on your table. 2, we would love for someone to be a note taker, preferably with someone who has legible writing so we can read that afterwards. We will be collecting this information and provide a report back for everyone. We can read it afterwards. And lastly, I would love for someone to be, somebody who is willing to report back, because at one point for question number 2, we will hear from each and every single table. So for the first question, you see it here on your screen, and it's what is next? So what should be our vision for public schools? So we're going to give you about 5 minutes to have a table discussion, and then I have my colleagues Junhee and Ernesto who are in the back with 2 mics for 2 volunteers for question number 1. Is that clear? So we're going to have a timer. My colleague Adam will set a timer for us, and we're going to have some fun music so it can get creative juices flowing. And I will come back on stage to hear from you all. And there should be a blue sheet of paper on everyone's desk and where we like for you to take down the notes. Are we excited? Okay, thank you. I'll be back. All right. So it sounds like we're having a really great, rich discussion. And now we would love to hear back from you all. We have two colleagues, as mentioned earlier. Ernesto right here to the front. Shout out to my colleague right here. And then we have Junhee in the back, who's gonna help coordinate the discussion. So our first volunteer, if you can say your name, where you come from, and what were some of the key highlights your table discussed.
Hi everyone, my name is Jaheim Jones, and me and my group, we envision a school that is schools with more diverse teachers, having more black and brown teachers in black and brown schools are seen as an importance in teaching, no cops, no school resource officers or CSOs, more students having more opportunities to show leadership, having students have decision-making chances, a school based around restorative justice and healing-based, ethnic studies, LGBTQ curriculum, and curriculum that is relative to the community, more bilingual classes, and getting students on track to succeed in college and career.
Thank you so much. Next, we have, I saw table number 8 raise their hand.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathy Wilson, and I'm here in several capacities. I'm in Region 3 English Learner Lead for the California Preschool Instructional Network. I'm also a community college professor, as well as I work in Elk Grove Unified School District, which is actually a pre-K-12 district. So what we talked about is the question, where do we go from here and what should be our vision for public schools? We said that maybe we need to look at the question and change it a little bit is how can we more so collaborate birth to grade 12 and beyond, okay? We also talked about the importance of focusing on the continuum of learning, as well as what can we do to strengthen those collaborations and communications. Collaboration is as well with the community schools. In my school district, we have Cosumnes River College, which is right there in the middle, and why couldn't we do that early childhood collaboration as well as career to college? We also talked about stopping the silos of pre-K is this, TK is that, infant toddler is that, and K-12 is this. We also wanted to make sure that we really have a true understanding of the different needs of the age groups along with the crucial connections to be made, because many of the stakeholders don't really understand the power behind those collaborations, the community resources that we can work together and use to build better education systems for all our families, children, teachers, and everyone who's involved.
Thank you. So on one hand, it sounds like we talked a little bit more about the environment settings of what it will look like day to day. And thank you so much for calling out the systems alignment piece and how we can work collaboratively together. We want to hear back from one more, maybe on this side. This side's feeling a little shy. No, going once. We have a lot of experts here we would love to hear from. Hey, thank you. Table number 2. We should have a competition and see what side volunteers more.
So our table, first of all, discussed that public schools contradicts the entire discussion we've been having all day, because if we're talking about 0 to whatever age, whether it's the 12th grade or beyond, we need to think about the 0 to 5 population being served, whether they be in clinics, in home visiting, in family child care, in nonprofit organizations, and schools as well. So to really go broader in terms of having a vision that is more than just public schools, but that it is a comprehensive mixed delivery system where community organizations, schools, family child care providers, and nonprofit organizations work towards the delivery of a quality system that attracts and retains highly qualified workforce that's equitably compensated.
Thank you. So it sounds like partnerships and how do we look beyond just the school system itself, right? And work and look at it through that lens. So I really appreciate the 3 types of visions. So we will be collecting all of these notes at the end and compiling a comprehensive share out after the water cooler. So thank you for sharing on the vision question. For question number 2, It's probably my favorite question. And here we're going to talk about how do we democratize the data. Panel earlier mentioned and talked a little bit more about how do we go about bringing the data and the findings to our communities. When I first started at Advancement Project, my colleague Ernesto and I worked in Southeast LA with my first teacher on working with parents to advocate at the district around LCFF. And parents are eager to want to advocate and learn more about this information. And right now we have a great opportunity to how to bring this information and work alongside with them all. Knowing that there's a lot of experts here in the room, we want to pick your brain once again and borrow your great ideas for the field. And we would love for you to share strategies and opportunities as to how we can do this together for all of our families and students. And the challenge here, but I hope you accept the challenge, is that we do want to hear from each and every single table. We're going to have a little bit more of a discussion here, around 6 minutes. And we will have Ernesto and Junhee go down by each and every single table. So if we have some folks who are by themselves, I would encourage you to join a table that has more folks, because we will hear on your top strategy. So if you can write down your answers on the blue sheet of paper, and I'll come back in about 6 minutes, and we will facilitate a table-by-table coordination on you guys to share your top strategy. Are we clear? Does that sound good? All right. All right, so I'm cutting and stealing 5 seconds. I know, it's really great. Thank you. We have another challenge presented in front of us. We have 10 minutes to hear back from everyone. I'm a hopeful person that I think we can, but I don't know. We're gonna start with my colleague Ernesto on this side for table number 1, and then I have Junhee, table number 23, I believe, and we have about 30 seconds per table. If you can please be concise in sharing your top strategy that was discussed on your table. Table number 1, can we hear it?
Hey.
Hello.
Good afternoon. All right, so question number 2. Sure, yeah. Hey. So we talked about, I'm just gonna synthesize. We talked about making information more accessible, understandable, especially if we're trying to reach parents and families. So specifically talking about synthesizing information down to one-pagers, sharing this as open resources. Don't forget about translations as well. And also making it a specific ask for parents to come out. That way we build our community power. And in terms of collaboration, we are all trying to get at the same populations of parents and community members that other groups that have this campaign infrastructure already in place. I'm thinking about the census groups. I'm thinking about the folks that go out and run election campaigns, voter registration, students in there. You know, we're all in the same space, and we're not collaborating with each other, even though maybe our goals are vastly different, but we're all trying to reach the same people. So I see some natural alignments possibly coming on, especially with pre-registration happening in high schools already. So that's just food for thought.
Thank you. Thank you, table number 1. Sharing your top strategy, number 1 strategy, please. Table 23.
Yes, hi. So our table, we talked also very similar to the previous speaker, really creating some sort of a campaign to create more awareness about the findings. And then one of our colleagues here also suggested involving students and having them be the voice and the advocates.
Thank you. Table number 5. Not all at once.
So we had maybe making memes, fun ways to share some of this data, and definitely including integrating findings in civic engagement with our youth, lowering the voting age so that 16 and 17-year-olds can vote in school board elections, and allowing undocumented people to vote. And definitely making friendly language that is accessible for people to understand the report, because a lot of times it's too complicated. But yes, top strategies, yeah.
Thank you. Table number 22.
So the first thing that we kind of identified is that with these studies, there was very little involvement of folks at the community level, parents, students, et cetera. So the number one issue, I think, with dissemination is buy-in into the studies and relatability to the experiences of parents and students in the study. So I just thought that's something that is important to consider. And our top strategy would be to leverage relationships with CBOs. There's a lot of great CBOs in the room today that could reach out to their bases in order to disseminate the report among groups that are already engaged in education equity work locally.
Thank you. Table number 6.
Hey, everyone. So basically what we arrived at was organizing, right? So thinking about our first report, right? It was put together by communities with communities and was really helpful in going beyond the choir. So that was another theme that we had was not assuming that our choir is on board, right? And then going beyond the choir to make sure that we're advancing the work that was found in the report. Anything else?
Thank you. Table number 7.
Hi, everybody. So we talked a lot about equity and how to broaden our community to make sure that we're giving people access. So our thoughts were, and the top strategy was, we would do targeted information campaigns toward doctors, business leaders, church leaders, civic organization leaders, youth leaders, so that they understood what was happening in education, and you can build critical will in terms of getting the whole community with you and making sure you don't ask them to come to you, but you actually go to the places where they are meeting to share your information.
Great. Thank you. Table number 14.
Let me stand. We talked about the need to continue to build capacity within our teachers and administrators. How are they purposefully including parents and community in meaningful ways in all of the work that they're doing? And making sure that our teachers who are working frontline with our students in the community really are empowered to tell the story, because sometimes they're not. They don't feel that they are true professionals, and we want to make sure that we're building the capacity in them to be able to tell the stories of the good work that we're doing and the importance of what we do.
Thank you. Table number 8.
So we had something similar to table 6 and 7 in terms of relationships and meeting parents where they are. We talked about having parent or family cafes where parents can process info and share their thoughts and concerns. Also, parents are always, a lot of times, coming to the school. Instead of that, having community events, home visits, as well as making sure that we're breaking down the academic language for our parents, like those acronyms.
Oh, yes, we love those. Thank you. Table 13.
Hi, everyone. The top strategy that we identified was really being able to humanize the research through vignettes and like videos, telling the story of the research through youth and parent voice.
Thank you. Table 21.
We had very similar findings to our neighbors over here on this side, and we said, chunk the message down to an understandable level, and that's based on the stakeholder group, and then share it again and again.
Table 12.
Okay, we actually said a lot of what's already been said, but building on something we recently heard was this whole idea of a forum to share and with parents, make it right after school ends and make sure there's food and childcare because it's a really good time to catch families.
Thank you. Table 26.
So we talked about teacher and administrator preparation programs to include work around how to engage families in back and forth dialogues about meaningful engagement and quality from 0 to 12th grade, and then to support families in understanding their school's data around school performance and include them in goal setting and advocacy.
Great. Table 11.
So we started with something that's been mentioned before. It start where the parents are. So maybe develop a series of questions, building a bank of questions that you can survey your parents to learn where they're at, their knowledge of the topic, and meet them there to be most successful in engaging them.
Thank you. Table 19?
Pretty much what everybody else has already stated, but really inviting parents out to community events where they can make their voices heard, town hall meetings, school board meetings, and really uniting their testimonies with our data as one unanimous, cohesive voice so that we can push policies and strategies through with actual tangible results.
Thank you. Table 10?
Hi. So we talked about a lot of things which have been touched on by other tables as well, including a sort of non-traditional sectors and allies like the health and business, and also that parents and the families who are most impacted by this, they don't necessarily need to be told this information, or just telling them is not enough. They're living it, and a lot of these findings are not particularly surprising. So what do we do with the data itself? Can we, the one strategy we settled on was around advocacy training. So to let parents know and family members know and community members know where to go to share their experiences and what their lived experience has been around these issues, and also how to advocate around those issues.
Thank you. Table 27. You have 1 minute. I feel like we can do this. Come on, Joe.
Joe Bishop, UCLA, go Bruins.
Wow.
So for policymakers, break down the recommendations into bite-sized pieces and give them more context from which to operate. Use the research as a way to reinforce the work of community groups, not as a, here, you should know about this.
Okay. Last but not least, table 18, maybe?
Okay. We had a similar thought about making it into bite-sized chunks of data that's understandable both in presentation and language, and also a coordinated campaign. So using all of the key players in the various fields, early ed, elementary ed, first fives, county office of ed, R&Rs, things like that, to disseminate the messages with some sort of coordinated toolkits. You could customize it to your community.
Table 17. We have like 30 seconds or no.
Our biggest strategy was to basically improve parent power, get parents involved, making them part of the leadership structure, and ensuring that their voice can be heard.
Thank you so much. I think we got through all the tables. So I want to give you all a round of applause to yourselves, and thank you for all of your feedback. We will be collecting. Thank you again.